Welcome to Ninjas of Another Color, episode 25. I'm your host, Dwayne Otley. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, give us 3 stars, give us 2 stars, give us any stars, because if you don't give us anything, I can just assume that we are doing it correctly. We are available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcast, Pandora, Google Podcast, TuneIn. We're still working on Apple. We are also available on TikTok. Alright, today, who do you have in the Super Bowl? Today is February 11th, the day before the Super Bowl. We won't touch on the Super Bowl much, but it is tomorrow. Who do you have? Do you have the Eagles with a black quarterback, or do you have the Chiefs with a black quarterback? Alright, let's get to it.
Brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
Alright, yes, that was Green Lantern getting rid of all evil in the universe. But guess what? It's Super Bowl weekend, and we're going to talk about the NBA. The male soap opera version, yes. This week, which was the week of LeBron taking over Kareem and the trades. So, the first thing we're going to get into is the number of trades that happened. Yes. KD, Kyrie, anything major? They headlined it, and the Lakers got better. So check it out.
4, 3, 2, 1, and we have crossed the NBA trade deadline. Woo! I feel like I need to put on some deodorant. I feel like I need some water. I feel like I need some maybe a little stiff drink.
No.
Woo!
You haven't started drinking yet?
That was a lot going on. Adrian Wojnarowski will be joining us in a bit to help make sense of everything that has happened. But first, Chene, high-level thoughts, takeaways from this trade deadline.
A couple years ago, Kevin Durant shook up the balance of power in the West, and it looks like he just did it again by entering the roster of the Phoenix Suns. And this roster has a lot of question marks, but nonetheless, the intention is for them to push to win a championship with him being at the age of 34. And he's not alone. I think the Lakers, flying under the radar, made some moves earlier, not just today, but as we know from Rui Hachimura. But I think at the end of the day, it all centers around KD. Will this really be the team, the Suns, that live up to expectations that had fallen way beyond short in Brooklyn? Chris Paul seeking a championship, KD trying to reinvigorate his legacy, Devin Booker always chip on the shoulder. It's going to be all centered in Arizona,
right?
The eyes of the basketball world, but I do think a lot of teams also got better.
I mean, what's the biggest trade of the day of the last 24 hours? Duh, it's Kevin Durant. But Zach, you are our deep cuts friend. So when you're looking at those little moves that were made around the edges that made teams better, is there one in your mind that you're like, you know what? We need to keep an eye on that as we march towards the playoffs.
Little moves, I'm not.
Medium moves,
I'm not.
medium.
Nothing is standing out for me on the little moves. It's the big moves that are going to define.
Yeah.
Jay Crowder to Milwaukee. They've been playing 4 guards without Bobby Portis a lot, so they get that kind of PJ Tucker-ish piece that they had a couple years ago when they won the title. That was a coveted one. That's interesting. I'm still digesting the Warriors. The Warriors getting GP2 back for James Wiseman. That's interesting, too. They have a lot of guards on that team. Those are some interesting smaller moves. But this move's about Kevin Durant.
Yes, it is about Kevin Durant, but also fine-tuning things. And I thought that the Denver Nuggets needed to add more depth for us, the bigs, right? And they added that with Thomas Bryant. And you can play him and Jokic together. With Jokic's ability to be able to pick and pop and play around and hang around the perimeter at times, he also adds that he brings a certain type of tenacity that I'm pretty sure Coach Malone would love. That was a good addition. And quiet as kept, the Golden State Warriors, we didn't already penciled in the Phoenix Suns. We didn't penciled in the Denver Nuggets, and this panel, over the past few weeks said We can never count out the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool, but they made some pretty nice additions. What?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I agree 100% with what you were saying.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Well, because you were saying that this panel, and by this panel, you were talking about me, Zach, and Janae. You weren't talking about yourself. So, no, I think it was.
I wasn't.
I know you. We know you weren't. One of the things that I like is I love it when teams go and get that one piece. All right, we're not going to change everything. We're not going to make this. So I love Josh Hart to the Knicks. I love Josh Hart. I have said since he first came into the league, Josh Hart is a piece that you would want on a championship team. He's a selfless player. He does a lot of little things. So I like the Josh Hart.
All right, Josh Hart to the Knicks. It's a minor move. That'll get him from 7th to 5th or 6th. But for them to make a move to get in the top 4 teams, they needed to get rid of Julius Randle. That's a fine, and get rid of the coach. The coach is a problem, so I don't understand why. But it was a minor move by the Knicks. And they should, another fine. They should have got James Wiseman. If James Wiseman is what they gave for GP2, then we could have got James Wiseman. Get rid of Julius Randle.
I like the Jay Crowder. I like what Denver did, and I like how they just added just a little bit. I love Luke Kennard to Memphis. So there's a lot of teams that got just a little bit better in the right spots. They're not like, we're going to see this doesn't fit. Josh Hart fits. Luke Kennard fits. Jay Crowder fits. So there were some very good teams, or some teams right there on that fringe that made the right moves.
Let's take a look at some of the most notable trades that have happened, because there's been so many, and while I've taken a Tums and my bubbles have settled, I'm making sense, rude, Richard, of everything that is happening. We have crossed the trade deadline, but if you think that moves are done being made, you are sorely mistaken, because now...
Okay. Notable acquisitions. The Hawks get B. The Warriors got, again, Gary Payton II. Clippers got Eric Gordon, Bones, Highland, and Mason Plumlee. The Pistons got James Wiseman. I think they got that for a steal. And the Grizzlies acquired Luke Kennard. The Bucks got Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder probably put a very good team into a better team, because they got better, probably defensively. They got better defensively with Crowder.
Now all eyes, they turn to the buyout market. Could Russell Westbrook be there? Might others be lying in wait, being the difference makers for these teams? And for more on that, I do want to bring in Brian Windhorst, because nobody knows this better than you, Brian. Explain what you are looking at as teams assess this buyout market.
Yeah, so let's look at where all the dust settled. So, like, for example, the Clippers traded 2 point guards. They traded away John Wall. They traded away Reggie Jackson. They have a roster spot. Would Russell Westbrook make sense there? That, it is not the type of exact fit there, but you're not going to get a higher talent player. I don't know where Russ's head is at, but can you imagine what he would be like staying in LA? I'm sure that's a preference that he would like. Ramona Shelburne told us earlier that Paul George is already advocating to bring him in. Also, the Miami Heat could be looking there. Keep an eye on Danny Green, who is going to the Rockets. That's a strong buyout candidate. Championship DNA, recovering. You don't need Danny Green to be at his best in February. You need him to be at his best in April and May. I expect him also to be a guy who people chase. And I think there may be a couple other players. There's always a surprise buyout move every year.
Yeah.
There's going to be some need for some centers in some places. Keep an eye on what happens with the Phoenix Suns. They have a completely different roster now. Keep an eye on what happens with the Dallas Mavericks. Both of those teams potentially looking for buyout players, and those are places people are going to want to go. So definitely is going to be a secondary sort of transaction period for the next 7 to 10 days.
Secondary transaction period. I'm just catching up from my first win. I'm not ready for the second win yet. Zach, what do you think of all that with the buyout market?
Yeah, I mean, the buyout market, there's always a great deal of attention to it because some of the names are big. It just seldom ends up mattering. And if I'm the Clippers, man, I am thinking really hard about adding Russell Westbrook to my roster because that feels like dropping a nuclear bomb that does not fit very well onto a roster that just sort of tweaked around the edges. Very interesting day for the Clippers. Out go Luke Kennard, Reggie Jackson, John Wall. In come Bones Highland, Aaron Gordon, and Mason Plumlee. Not sure how much better the Clippers got with that exchange of 3 for 3. It's interesting, but I know Russ put up numbers as the sixth man. He was putting up numbers, and the Lakers couldn't wait to get him out of town.
Training camp the week after All-Star break. It's basically the new NBA season. But I'm with you on that. The Clippers' moves made zero sense to me. Like,
I didn't say that. I didn't say all that.
No, I said that. I'm saying that.
You didn't say it.
I'm saying it. It made zero sense. They are loaded with wings. They're loaded with a ton of ISO guys. When you look down the line, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Norman Powell. You add Bones Highland. Like, none of that made sense. I mean, you have a guy like Nicholas Batum who actually buys into his role and plays his role at an elite level. But then you add Eric Gordon. Like, these are guys that need the ball in their hands to be effective. And I'm thinking, like, all the moves that were being made, I thought the Clippers could have been a little bit more smarter as a front office standpoint and putting in certain pieces to make them better.
Well, you have to wonder who is available because the number one need for the Clippers was absolutely point guard, and I don't think that they missed, and I don't think that they made too much, but I do think that they solidified themselves, and when it comes to that point guard, I truly believe less is more. And so when you're evaluating Russ, maybe it's a better scenario than the Lakers because you're surrounded by shooters, you just added Plumlee, you have Zubac on the center, right? So the floor should be able to be space for him to be at least hopefully more productive, but in this instance, your points of emphasis are Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and less is more of the Chris Paul, mindset, like go out there, give us 23 minutes, and really assist the ball. You don't have to do too much and make our guys look good. That is the mold that they're looking for. In the interim, I don't think they did a bad job.
Tanae, you're from H-Town.
Oh, Lord.
I gotta ask you, John Wall going back to Houston.
He ain't going back to
Being traded back to Houston.
I don't think that's a reality. I think Danny as well. I'm not thinking he's going to stay in a Rockets jersey either. I think this is hopefully the future for the Rockets. They have a lot of young talent, and I'm a huge fan of Alperen Şengün.
What was that one more time for
Şengün? Alperen Şengün. Last night we had a little
I
freeze.
just want to take my time with it.
Be smooth with it. It's all good. Perk, we love you. The Rockets, if you're looking at what's happening, I just...
Why are we talking about the Rockets?
Because
it's John Wall.
Relax, bro.
Okay. I think they highlight the importance of the way people move in the buyout market.
Right.
Like not having these expectations that these guys are going to suit up for our squad. Instead, they're moves that are going to be
similarly to Russell Westbrook. We never expect to see him in a Utah Jazz. Photographed in a Utah Jazz uniform. Do a picture of that.
Wait a second. Write this down. My thing that
we got a pen. Zach's got
about the Clippers and the moves that they made. Like sometimes you look back on players and where they've had their most success, right? So when I have my best players, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, you want to look at where they had the most play. When Kawhi Leonard won a Finals MVP, he had a point guard in Tony Parker. He had a system. Say whatever you want about how it ended in San Antonio. When he went to Toronto and had a great year, he had 2 point guards on his roster. Fred VanVleet, who was now an all-star, was an all-star, a season ago, and then he also had Kyle Lowry. So it's like, wait a second now. Like, this guy, who's one of the top 5-10 players when he's healthy, balling, and even Paul George had Russell Westbrook when he had his best season before going. So I just look at these guys. Do they need a point guard? Your 2 best players have excelled when they've had good to great point guards around them.
And here's the thing about John Wall, right? Like, we got to have these hard conversations, but what's next for him? Like, we thought him going to the Clippers after sitting out for the Rockets was going to, kind of revamp and give him that juice back to his career. Now, all of a sudden, this is not a good look for him as well. And so, again, this is another teaching moment for the young guys out there and the young vets that are going, that's going to have to take a lesser role to, like, actually put your pride aside. Because sooner or later you can see that door like shutting on you, and that's what's happening right now with John Wall.
in the biggest year in the history of their franchise, the Clippers decided today, we don't need a point guard, but we do need another center, which is very interesting because they have tried and actually succeeded at playing 5 wings, 5 guards and wings all together. You know, Nick Batum, I was talking to him last night at the game, he's talking about how he's gotten good at jostling with the big guys front him and all that, and now they got Mason Plumlee coming in to back up Zubats. But here's the thing about the point guard thing you got to talk about with the Clippers. Fred VanVleet, that's a name that's been out there.
Yep.
My best reporting was that was going to cost you Terrence Mann. That there was no Fred VanVleet deal without Terrence Mann, and even then you may not have enough because they've traded so many picks. Kyle Lowry, that's another name that was out there connected with the Clippers. He's got $30 million owed to him next season. It just hasn't been, I'm sorry to say, nearly the same guy. So you start to just kind of run out of options, and this is where they've ended up without. They traded 2 point guards and didn't really get a point guard.
That's fair.
So there are 2 teams that didn't make a move. 2. Cavaliers didn't make a move. The Chicago Bulls didn't make a move.
I forgot about the Bulls.
Bulls fans, I see you. I hear you.
No, you don't.
I know that you're frustrated. Zach, can you help them feel better?
No.
Keep it going.
I mean, like, look,
That's what I
they're a
kinda
500
thought
team. They kept their big 3 together. They'll tell you every chance they get, they have a big 3, 3 All-Stars. They're 500. Lonzo is still hurt, and they owe their pick to the Magic this summer in the Vucevic trade. I think they're a nice team, and they are. I'm looking at the standing. They're 9th. Like, they're just sort of rolling with it and trying to make the play-in. But long-term, the vision is, let's say, murky.
Did you expect them? Did you hope that they would maybe tailor do a
I'm
couple
going
of
to be
things?
really honest.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't on my test, right? So I didn't even look at the Chicago Bulls.
It was a test?
There's always a test. It's like, there's certain teams like Houston Rockets. Why are we
All right,
talking
but the
about
Cavaliers.
Cavaliers. Now that one is
They're
one.
involved in
They're involved in people going there and getting bought out. That's
And
the
we
state of
educate
Houston.
our people.
That's great, but we didn't need to talk about them. No, I think the Cavaliers were a confusing team a little bit because I think they've had a little bit of up and down, right? When Donovan Mitchell went out, I think they are missing a 3-and-D guy. There are just some things right there. But the thing I like about Cleveland is that they have a young core. People are under contract. They are fine. So they're not going to... And I don't think they had a ton of assets after giving what they gave away to Houston, or to Utah, excuse me. So I'm not surprised by...
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. That's a fine. Yes, KD's in Phoenix. Kyrie's in Dallas. The Clippers don't have a point guard. The Lakers got younger and more athletic, but they're still 13th. Memphis didn't really make a move. The Bucks got Jason Crowder. That should show up there. They're third in the league in defensive efficiency, so they will get better. I think with these trades, Phoenix made a move that made them better. I don't know about Golden State. Boston made a move. Don't think it made them better. The Nets moved out of the top 3 with the move they made, but they had no choice because that dude didn't want to be there because of his money. Because that's all that trade was about, was money. Even though the last year of the offer, according to some, is that they have to win a championship or he won't get his money. So guess what? He didn't get his money, so that's why he left. So that's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. And moving on to our next story, that guy called LeBron James, yes, he did something, I guess you can say, he did something that really got the attention. But again, he did it on Super Bowl week, and a lot of people weren't talking about it. It was just a one-night thing. And we're on Saturday, and nobody's really talking about it. So, yes, LeBron James breaks the NBA all-time leading record score, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabarr. Check it out.
Looking for James. He's got it. Coming to the end of the third quarter. LeBron James, a shot in history. LeBron stands alone. The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James.
Yes, it belongs to LeBron James, and everybody made a big deal about Anthony Davis not getting enough off the bench, all that nonsense. But we're gonna say he's still not the greatest of all time. That belongs to number 23, MJ, out of Chicago, born in New York. But let's hear what the experts say.
Expectations is now the all-time points leader in the NBA, scoring leader in the NBA.
Golf clap, P. Golf clap.
And he has said in the past he doesn't even really think of himself as a scorer. And he just broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record, guys, last night. Third quarter. Jay on a fadeaway. I thought maybe he was going to do it on a little
hook shot?
Yeah.
So last night I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm saying, all right, Kareem broke the record, and Kareem has a signature shot, right? The hook shot. So you thought LeBron was going to do it. Actually, LeBron broke the record with his own signature shot. Since coming into the league in 2003-2004, he's had the second most fadeaway jump shots other than Dirk. So he did it with his own signature shot in a signature moment of a...
I do apologize, but guess what? The fadeaway was started by who? Michael Jordan.
Game where his team needed every single point to keep themselves in the ballgame.
Wait, he has more fadeaway jump shots than anyone in the history of the league other than Dirk.
Other than Dirk,
right.
since coming into the league.
And that's his shot, just like Kareem did his shot. LeBron, everyone's thinking maybe it'll be a hook, kind of pay homage, but he did his thing.
Did it his way, Key.
Yeah, I thought it would be a hook tomorrow night, or Thursday night.
When you have tickets to the game?
Yeah. I still have tickets to the game. If you want to go, Jack, I can give them to you. I mean,
you ain't going. There ain't no way you going now.
The price, not a chance. I told my son and everybody last night, I said, man, y'all go ahead, and everybody's like, texting and saying whatever as he's getting closer to the record. I'm like, yeah, y'all go ahead and handle this, because I won't be going. But it's great to see LeBron James. It's just good to see history like this. I mean, you obviously never thought anybody would get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record, especially when, Michael Jordan, people that scored a lot of points, Kobe and all those guys were so far behind at their retirement that you look up and now all of a sudden you see one of the greatest players in the history of basketball do this. And not only from a point scoring standpoint, but when you look at the overall game, the assist, you talked about the fadeaway, the championships, multiple MVPs at the league level as well as the championship level MVP. I mean, you just witness, I guess you could call it greatness, right? I mean, what other word do you look for when you're trying to, summarize what this moment was? I mean, it was a star-studded event, right? It was everybody in Hollywood out to, say and look at greatness and thank LeBron James for giving us these moments.
Yeah, I mean, look, in the modern NBA history, that record has been held by three men, and we just showed the graphic. And by modern NBA, you want to say shot clock, what was that, the mid-50s, 1954? You're really talking about the absorption of the ABA teams, because that's the advent of the three-point shot and all that. And there was Wilt Chamberlain, whose career, went from the 60s through the 50s through the mid-60s. We just have it up through 1984. I didn't realize Wilt Chamberlain played in 1984. Yeah. I have no recollection of Wilt Chamberlain as an active player.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember ever having watched him play.
In 1984, you probably would have.
Yeah, but I would have, because he was such a big deal. But for whatever reason,
crazy. You're like 22 in 1984.
I know, but for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's true. Max is probably about 22.
Oh no, that's the problem, because he didn't play in 1984. I'm an idiot. He said 1984 is when the record fell. Right. Okay. So he held the record from 1966. I'm a total idiot. That just threw me. From 1966 until 1984. And then Kareem from 84 to 2003, and then LeBron James now. Every, 20 20 to 40 years someone breaks this record. It's a big deal. The only three names in the modern era really are Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and LeBron James.
Well, LeBron is not just going to break him; he's going to shatter it.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably has another 3 years left. He may end up with 41.
I was just about to ask you that.
1,000 when it's all said and done.
I was just about to ask you that.
You don't know, my whole world just turned upside down when I thought, wait, he played it.
So it's a wrap then, Jay.
How did I just say?
So it's a wrap. Then it'll never be touched.
I don't know if it'll never be touched. I mean, inevitably, records are meant to be broken. And I will say with the pace of the game, how much it's increased in the volume of possessions.
But aren't they talking about reducing the amount of games?
Yeah, that could be true. They could. I mean, it's a conversation. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Records are always meant to be broken. But,
no question. But
I
mean,
geez. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's going to play for another at least
5 years.
You say 5? I'd say another 3.
I say 5. And the reason I say 5, what, he got 2 left on this deal?
You got 2 left on. Well, yeah, 2. 2
or 3 left. I don't remember. It's either 2 or 3 left on this current NBA deal. Then you got to factor in
play with Bronny.
Yeah.
Why did you play the son? Why'd you make that face?
Because I wasn't thinking about his son. I was just thinking about him at this moment. I was just gonna say, then he's gonna probably get 2 to 3 kicking years, just because. And when I mean kicking years, be able to be the leader on the team, score 20 points a game, chill. That sort of thing, where you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out just because I can.
That's the crazy thing about LeBron, Jay, is Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar spent several years at the end, not really themselves.
Kicking it.
Jordan,
I call it kicking
a couple years at the end. That's not really Michael Jordan. That's not really Kareem. That's LeBron is still. He may not be exactly, but that's still LeBron James playing. After all the years,
but 3 years from now, if we see the same thing we saw today, 3 years from now, last night, 3 years from now, something's wrong.
Something's already wrong. By the way, something's already wrong. This dude,
the Martians, or wherever the aliens, whatever came in the middle of the night and put something over him and something.
So at 38, he's averaging 30 plus points per game, and his game is going to evolve. The more his jump shot's going to get better. So you can't tell me you can't use him as a pick and pop kind of guy as he gets older, but he doesn't have the same athletic ability.
Like Brady, right? Brady could still play in the NFL, but not.
Is Brady to go to you
in the NFL?
Yeah. Why?
Because his peak was as good as anyone's who came before him. Eventually, and he did it twice as long. His record, and let's be honest, mainly his record in the playoffs.
Jay,
I can't help myself. I can't help myself.
Do it.
So he's 7-3 in the playoffs, right?
All right, let's stop this right now. Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. 1. Michael Jordan played 3 years in college, so LeBron got in at 18. So, he only got this because of longevity. If you can get them at the same time, at the same ages, LeBron is a better Magic Johnson than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is a GOAT. Michael Jordan has sneakers that are the most popular, and he's been retired over 20 years. 20, 25 years maybe? Yeah, 20 years. So, let's get it out the way. He is not the GOAT. He just did, he passed the record because he was in the league 20 years. Michael Jordan was on the league 14 years, and he took 2 years off.
Don't do it.
Super Bowl 7-3.
Why you gotta do this?
You don't say Joe Montana?
It's too early.
I think that's the guy he passed. He has 3 more Super Bowl championships.
So you reward endurance,
but
you don't win
championships.
No, I can't, because I'm gonna die on the hill today.
You will die.
Because it's cemented.
Trust me, you will die.
So you just said. He just said with Michael.
We have almost 4 hours to attack him.
He just said with Tom Brady that he rewards endurance because he did it.
No, you said I reward endurance. I didn't use the word endurance.
Actually, go back and play. He played twice as long.
Yes, but I didn't say endurance.
What is that?
Not just that he played twice as long. Jay.
No.
He won. I said
Max,
7.
No. Stop.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about change. You just said he played twice as long.
And his peak was as high.
That was one of the attributes. That was one variable.
LeBron's peak was not as high as Jordan's.
That was
peak.
one of the variables. You also said he played twice as long, so you rewarded the endurance for Tom Brady. No. Let me finish, Max. I can't finish my point if you keep interrupting me, Max.
Oh God, this is a rewind from yesterday. Producers, please step in.
You reward endurance on one end with Tom Brady, but then you use it as a detractor for LeBron on the other end. Even though at 38, at least because for some reason for you don't allow that to elevate LeBron in the conversation, but you use it as a variable to elevate Tom Brady.
That's not true. Okay, can I address that?
I didn't even get a chance to make my point, but you know what? Put the shot clock on Max. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think you just made your point. I think you're saying that I'm giving LeBron credit for Brady credit for something I'm not giving LeBron. Is there another point? Please make it.
Go ahead. Please counter that point, then we can go point by point.
That's a very easy point to counter.
Guys, hijack the show for me.
I'm not switching things.
Interesting.
Number 1, LeBron James has longevity as Tom Brady does. It's roughly equivalent given their sports. They're both incredible, right? Tom Brady and LeBron James, like Tom Brady, has hit a peak basically as high as anyone's and sustained it for twice as long.
Yes.
If Brady had done that, but his record was 3-7 in the Super Bowl, he wouldn't have passed Joe Montana. But his record is 7-3 in the Super Bowl, and you must reward the wins.
Okay, so let's go through who those wins were against. So 4-6 for LeBron in the NBA Finals. 3 losses came to the Warriors. 2 of the Warriors were maybe the greatest team we've ever seen in a game of basketball. Kevin Durant,
actually.
No, 2. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson.
Yes, for sure. That was the one. Yes,
okay, all right, 2 of those.
Okay,
2.
For sure.
The other one were against the Spurs. I hear the knock on the Miami game. But let's talk about some of the teams that LeBron dragged to the NBA Finals. That you
And he kindly forgets the one he choked for the Dallas Mavericks. Cannot. Again, I say you cannot wipe away the stain of that Dallas loss.
Used as a detractor for him in the greatest of all time conversation. Can you tell me who was on the 2007 roster, starting 5 for his roster for the Cleveland Cavs? Drew Gooden, Ilgauskas, Larry Hughes, and Eric Snow and LeBron.
Yep.
Okay, let's
not the strongest conference either, but he did.
And they got swept by the Spurs. Again, for the record, Michael Jordan is still the GOAT. The GOAT. 2 3-peats. 2 3-peats, ladies and gentlemen. Fine. No matter what no one says, he's still culturally relevant, reputable, because his sneakers are fire. F-I-R-E. Fire. And they're still making Nike money. More money than LeBron. Maybe more money than Kobe. I don't know. But he is still fire. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to respond to this, please hit us up at ninjasofanothers@gmail.com. Who is your GOAT? I stated mine. Now, we're moving on. Do you know who Kareem Abdul-Jabarr is? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar held the record for 40-something years, and he was arguably, he's still on the Mount Rushmore of players in the NBA because he won in Milwaukee and he won 4 titles with LA. So, check this out. Check out this exchange between Shaq and Kareem.
And I want to tell Shaq, I asked you specifically this evening because you felt that I was shaming you or ignoring you, and that would never be the case. And you showed him what you were all about, the way you crushed all the centers in the league for a couple of years there. So I'm on your side, Shaq. Don't ever let anybody tell you anything different.
And listen, you not speaking to me was the best thing that happened in my career because all I wanted to do was impress you, sir. So I will talk to you soon, inshallah, and I love you very much. And I will never, ever have beef with the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You ain't got to worry about that.
That's back at you. I love you too. And I want you guys to keep on impressing the whole world with our game. It's a wonderful game.
All right. Yep. I'll talk to you soon, Cap.
Thank you, Captain.
All right, Cap.
Yeah, take care.
I wasn't expecting that at the end. That was pretty special.
So, I'm not a sensitive guy, but he would never look at me, would never talk to me. So I thought he didn't like me. But I'm the type, I don't get sensitive. I'm like, okay, you're not going to talk to me, watch this. So it just, and then, my mother and father would say, when people criticize you, see if there's some truth in the criticism. Shaq's one of the greatest Lakers ever. And then Kareem said, well, if he's so great, how come they keep getting swept in the playoffs? You can't respond to that.
Motivation.
Not from Cap. You know what I'm saying? John Concat can't say that. Nobody else. But so like, you're right. So like, I use it as just motivation. And then about 4 years ago, he pulled me to the side and said, man, you read an article where you said, I don't like you. That's not true. I love you. And like, he gave me a big hug. But yeah, ever since then, we've been very close. But I'm happy for LeBron. I'm happy for the Lakers organization. And I never thought that record would be broken. Never thought it was going to be broken. But now,
it definitely ain't going to be broken, Shaq.
Candace talking about he trying to play another 5 years. Man,
it ain't going nowhere.
That thing going to be at about 48,000 points, ain't it?
LeBron is just the 8th player in the history of the NBA to be the all-time scoring leader. The question now, how far will he take it? James Harden weighing in, 1 of 1. Congrats, bro. Chef Curry, congrats, King James. Legendary stuff right there with the amount of points. And swish, 41. Unbelievable.
Yes, Kareem is an all-time great. He's one of our icons and our heroes once we celebrate Black History Month. So, in that case, since we're celebrating Black History Month, one of the icons of Black History Month is Hank Aaron. If you didn't know, I am a Braves fan, and he is Martin Rushmore of baseball. Jackie Robinson, him, Willie Mays, Barry Bonds maybe. But check this story out.
I have this habit. Some of you might call it a sickness. I hang on to random things for a long, long time. Little League team pictures. My first grade report card. A reporter's notebook from 35 years ago. Credentials. I have boxes of magazines that I just can't part with. And I've got newspapers. And when I start thinking, why am I holding on to these? It's for such a time as this. Because when we lost Henry Aaron, I went back to the box and came away with this. From April 5th, 1974. The day after Hammer and Hank caught the babe.
Driven, deep left field, back goes Rose. He does the track, this ball is going, and it's score. 7-14.
That was my father, Ernie Johnson Sr., at the mic. He played with Henry for 5 seasons in Milwaukee back in the day, saw him hit his first big league homer in 1954. And then as a broadcaster, had the honor of watching his friend chase history.
Here's a pitch. Swung on, here she goes. Home run number 500. Swung, there's a drive. Deep left field. This ball is going, and it's gone. 700 for Hank Aaron.
I met Hank Aaron as a kid, and through the years, every encounter with him became a cherished memory. I guess that's why as a high school senior in 1974, I held on to that newspaper. The Atlanta Constitution's coverage that day was testament to the brilliance of a ball player, the plaudits flowing with the ease and grace of number 44's swing. He had made history, enduring an ugly avalanche of racist hate mail and death threats along the way. But there was something a few pages deep I missed the first time around, which has grabbed my attention nearly 47 years later. Henry Aaron hit his 714th home run on the 6th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Aaron had requested a moment of silence be observed in honor of Dr. King. I thought it was appropriate, he said. There are a lot of black players on both teams, and some tribute would have been appreciated. But the Cincinnati Reds refused, saying as a policy our club has never gotten into religious things. We don't get into politics. We don't get into race. We just don't think fans want that when they come to the ballpark. It's just a policy thing. We certainly have nothing against Aaron. When I read that, it just felt like a 70s baseball version of what NBA players have heard in recent years. Shut up and dribble. Henry's request had nothing to do with himself, but with the cause of civil rights embodied by the man murdered exactly 6 years earlier. But on that afternoon in 1974, policy took priority over making a statement against the plague of prejudice. This newspaper from April 5th, 1974 may be a little tattered, a little rough around the edges. But does it provide a snapshot of Henry Aaron? One of the best to ever lace up a pair of spikes. And a man who, with the eyes of the world on his every swing, never took his eyes off the real prize.
I want to be remembered as someone who was able to forget about baseball, not someone who hit 700 home runs, had a 300 batting average, but someone who did a little bit more to help mankind.
Yes, one of the greats, Henry Aaron. We celebrate him in Black History Month. And at this portion of the podcast, yes, you can advertise or sponsor your product on Ninjas of Another Color podcast. My name is Dwayne Ali. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, give us 3 stars, give us 2 stars, give us feedback, comment, rate, review. We're available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcast, Pandora, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, and we're still working on Apple. You can reach us on Instagram, TikTok. You can also contact us at ninjasofanothercolor@gmail.com with your feedback. All right, moving on to our next topic. Have you seen Volcano, the rescue from on Netflix? It's a documentary, minute-by-minute account of tourists caught in a tragic volcanic eruption while sightseeing the island off of New Zealand. This was in 2019. Check it out.
It was a beautiful day. You could feel the heat from the volcano.
From the description, it was a nice, easy hike. They didn't make it sound dangerous.
I knew what could happen out there, but you don't believe it will happen.
Run. I thought, this is it. We're going to die on our honeymoon.
I heard the call. There's people on the island and she's erupting.
The heat alone was just unbearable.
The burns went through all my clothes.
We were dealing with people who are going to die within the next hour or so.
This is a start not me as an idea.
At this stage, it is too dangerous for police and rescue services to go to the island. The authorities said you're on your own.
Doing nothing wasn't an option. We're going to do it ourselves.
I came to the realisation that no one was coming. If I'd sit down, I'm not going to get back up again.
We urgently need help out here. We just keep finding more survivors.
I couldn't believe that I was hearing Harry River drinking.
This is a time where you're tested. Do I make sure I'm safe or do I go back and help? You're getting off this island now.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's an interesting I guess documentary / account of something that no one ever seen before. Like, really? Like, didn't even think about it? Anything like that? So, excuse, fine. You can check it out. It's on Netflix. It's a good find. And now, guess what? Guess what's coming out in March? Yes, the 3rd edition of Creed, directed by Michael B. Jordan. Yes, he's gonna do that. It looks kind of fun, but let's check it out.
I spent the last 7 years of my life living out my wildest dreams. Bianca, Rocky, my dad. This is built on their shoulders. Hey, my man, can I help you? Let me get an autograph. Nah, I ain't signing an autograph, but you get off my car. You don't remember me, huh? Hey. How long were you locked up?
18 years, bro. Just got out last week. Glad to have you back out, huh? I know I've been away a long time, but I kept myself in shape. I still got gas in the tank.
Come by the gym.
Thank you.
Curious what happened with you two?
I didn't tell you. We was like brothers. I was the best, though.
But I never got a chance to prove that.
That's cute. I know what you're doing, Donnie. You don't owe this dude nothing.
Damien's fighting the world and he's trying to hurt people.
I vouch for you. You think you mad? Trying to spend half your life in a cell. Why did somebody else live your life? I'm coming for everything. You threatening me?
Something is going on with you.
Damien was like family. Now we past talking.
Then maybe you just have to find out.
I recognize mine, I know that they needed me. Somebody stress what you manifest. I always feel I ain't scared of that. Did you hear me yet? I ain't scared of that. Did you hear me yet?
I need you to let go of your fear. Let go of the guilt. Let go of whatever was and walk into what is.
I feel those chains are breaking, yeah. I fear God, I fear death. I see those faces you destroy.
Yes, that is Creed 3, opens in theaters March 3rd. It looks like it's a great redemption story of, I guess, Creed, because he allowed his friend to take a rap from him, but he was still younger, so it doesn't make a difference. So, don't let nobody guilt you into doing anything. Even though they took the fall for you, that's their choice. You should not allow someone to, I guess, guilt you into allow their life choices to make them excuse their life choices. There you go. Like, if you do a crime and somebody takes the fall for you, that's on them. That's their choice. Like I said, I think I like the movie, so I'll check it out. I'll check it out on Fire Stick before I go to the movie theater. Get back to your movie theaters, especially black movie theaters. If you wanna bring back movie theaters, because they're gonna start doing that, go to a black movie theater. We should invest in a black movie theater. How about that? Alright, moving on. Guess what premiered last week? The Flash, the final season. And as predicted, it jumped the shark. So all we're waiting for is for the end of the season. Here's a few scenes. Check it out.
Hey, you okay? Seemed a little quiet at dinner.
Yeah, I'm just tired. Did you know about the Catco offer?
Yes, so I did. I figured it out using this. I call it my map book. It's a record I'm putting together of everything that's going to happen to us in the future.
future without...
I'm cataloging it. Instead of changing the timeline, we're just gonna follow it.
Catalog how?
I mean, between everything I've picked up, time traveling, and Gideon's records, we already know so much about our future. I spent all week putting it together.
Why would you want to do that?
Look, I've been having the same nightmare ever since we defeated the negative forces. And in it, I can't keep you safe. But with this book, we can see what's coming before it happens. The good and bad. Like with Nora. Iris. You're gonna get pregnant in 3 months. You're gonna win 2 Pulitzers. Like, how great is this, right? Now we won't have to worry about any Despros or mirror dimensions or time sickness catching us by surprise. We're safer now with this. What's wrong?
Nothing. I'm just tired. Can we just, talk about this tomorrow?
Okay. Good night.
Yes, and as usual, Barry changes the timeline. Same old writing, blah, 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 blah. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Flash fan, but they needed to do something different. But I guess they went for the same old, same old. So that is The Flash, episode 1. Season 9, the final season, and fucking Ezra Miller gets to keep his goddamn movie. What kind of bullshit is that? But anyway, we're gonna check what it is again. I set it to record. It jumped the shark up to season 4, but I'm gonna still stick to the end, see what they did in the ending. Alright, moving on to The Last of Us, season 5. And I don't understand why, but yes, people love apocalypse stuff. Why is this? Somebody please let me know. Why do we like stuff that what's the word I'm looking for? Upset societal boundaries. They kicked out the government and started killing people. What kind of primal bullshit is this? And it's popular. And they did it before the Super Bowl, so yes, that's why it starts so early. But here's one of The Last of Us best scenes, the bloater scene. Check it out. And these people, or clickers, or whatever, the infected, ran to the city and killed the rebellion. And the deaf black kid, spoiler alert if you didn't watching, he got bit, and his brother killed him, and his brother shot himself to death. Again, why do we like apocalyptic bullshit? I don't understand. Somebody please help me. Please, let me know. Is it just me? You can hit us up at digitsofanothercolor@gmail.com. Even hit us up on TikTok. Somebody let me know, why do we like this shit? Alright, moving on. I guess it's Super Bowl week and everybody's doing a double episode, because either a double episode or do it early, because if anything was done on Sunday, nobody would watch. So, one of the best shows around, The Bad Batch, did a two-parter, episode 7, episode 8. No More Clones and a Conspiracy Theory. These two showed how Palpatine used the Bad Batch to decommission the clones and use his his lackeys to boast the stormtroopers. These are the best scenes from episode 7. Check it out.
Trust this delegation to act in the best interest of all galactic citizens.
These are soldiers who defended us. I didn't realize you spoke on the clones' behalf. You now wish to discard them. Is that how we repay them for their service? Is that what this empire stands for? How?
I am open to discussing any and all provisions you or the clones have in mind.
Of them begin to dig further into what truly happened to Camino, then this legislation is at risk.
I need to stay a trooper. Can you make that happen?
No, but I can craft a pension plan.
Pension plan? I'd rather be out there fighting those insurgent groups that keep.
And what happens when you're too old to fight? Your military service will come to an end.
Camino wasn't destroyed by a storm. It's an attack ordered by Rampart himself. Check my service record if you don't believe me. You seem like what the good ones told you. Be careful. Everything alright?
The storm. How is it that you survived?
I was taking part in a training exercise off-world.
Rampart is skilled at saying all the right things, especially when he doesn't want anyone looking deeper.
Convince him to testify.
Where's the clone now?
My guards are out searching.
You may not be the only one looking for him.
If she finds him, handle it.
The Senator as well.
Yes. Ensure it can't lead back to me.
I can protect you. Once the Senate hears what you have to say.
Senator, you're not, and you don't need me. The evidence you want is aboard Rampart's ship. You're right, Senator.
Captain Rex?
couple of friends of mine own this garage. They're gone for a bit. You got a name? Who do you work for? You're fighting the wrong battle, brother. You're limited. So what does that make you? A believer.
Yes. Oops. My bad. That's a fine. And they... Yes, Palpatine had a clone. A clone kill those other guys. So he brainwashed them. Hint, hint. Republicans. That's for another podcast, but hint, hint. He brainwashed them into killing his own people. Alright. Now we're going to move to episode 8. This is where Palpatine puts his plan into action. Check it out.
You want to try?
No. Don't enjoy solitude. I had enough of that on Skako Minor. If it weren't for this squad, I'd still be a prisoner there. This was where I fit. Where I was needed. Squad's expertise for a mission. I'm tired of waiting around for Sid. Coruscant.
What's on Coruscant?
The heart of the Empire. If the Empire thinks we're dead, they won't be looking for us. I'd like to keep it that way. We are approaching Coruscant. Stay ready.
Thank you for coming.
He's an assassin. Clone contact of mine named Slip. I came to Coruscant to get him out, but the assassin got to him first. We were there too, Senator. The Senate won't listen to any of us. We're deserters. Hunters, but there's another way to provide the Senate with the evidence of the Empire's crimes. The command log on Rampart's Venator. Lots of security, but I know a way in.
We must prove his crimes before it passes.
What exactly does a senator do?
We serve the galaxy. We act as the voice of the people. Where I'm taking you next, you'll see.
And a few preparations for tomorrow's vote. There's nothing else she can do.
You had better hope so.
Where the future of the galaxy is decided, for better or worse. Clones don't have representation in the Senate.
We're part of this galaxy too.
To ensure you all have the same rights as any galactic citizen. It is a battle worth fighting. Can you keep a secret? Thank you for coming.
You're a fool to bring me here.
How can you not care about what happened on Kamino? It was my home. I was there. I saw the Empire destroy everything, and I'm angry. What they did, it's not right.
Did Admiral Rampart divert the funds?
You already know the answer. Rampart is a mere cog in the machine, and my word won't do you any good.
Still not better than Heights. This is him better. Tone it down. Tone it down. kindly follow orders gives me pause. We shall usher in a new era heralded by the Imperial Stormtrooper. Palpatine was one step ahead of us during the war, and he's still several steps ahead of us.
We told the truth.
The Emperor wanted us to implicate Rampart to get what he was after all along. Senate approval for his Stormtrooper program. Wherever you end up, remember what I said. Don't get into trouble without us.
Without us?
Best of luck, Echo.
I'm going with Rex. The clones need our help now more than ever.
You can't leave. We're a squad.
Omega,
We need you too.
keep up with your training while I'm gone, huh?
And yes, damn it, that's a fine. Echo left. Yeah, he left to be with Rex to help clones, and you know what happens. Well, we don't know what happens. We know what happens to Rex. Rex makes it all the way to Rebels, but we think that the Bad Batch, they perished somewhere in the war. Two great episodes. One shows espionage, other shows action. That's why I say I think it's the best show on Disney Plus. Don't care what nobody say. You can take it to the bank. Since it's Super Bowl weekend and advertising, you can, at this point in the podcast, advertise or promote your product. Just give us a shout, send us an email at ninjasofanothercolor@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Instagram at ninjasofanothercolor, or you can support the podcast via Cash App or via Zelle. The information is on the website. This is Dwayne Ollie, your host of Ninjas of Another Color. Rate us, review us, comment, give us feedback. We are available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcast, Pandora, Google Podcast, TuneIn, and we are trying to get on Apple. Give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, give us 3 stars, give us 2 stars. If you don't give us any stars, we will just assume that we are doing it correctly. All right, we are moving on to our again, another find, our relationship section. Would you listen to your single friends if you have a problem in your relationships? This is the audience participation portion of the podcast. You know the email address, Ninjas of Another Color Podcast, ninjasofanothercolor@gmail.com. Hit us back, but check us out.
Worth a game real quick, right? To all the women out there that's in a relationship and you going through something with your man, y'all having problems, y'all having y'all ups and downs, let me tell you who to never listen to. Your single girlfriends. Don't take no advice from them bitches. Because what is they going to tell you, huh? Every nigga she meet is doing a DBOP on her. A drive-by on the pussy. Huh? They lay her down, they spray her down, but don't no fucking body stay around. Huh? They ejaculate, then they evacuate. They exit the building like a motherfucking fire drill. So don't take no advice from your single girlfriends. Because what advice is they gonna give you? How not to keep a nigga around? Huh? How to have a bunch of lonely fucking nights? Huh? How to have the other side of the bed freezing fucking cold? Huh? Right.
Again, would you listen to your single girlfriends? Alright, moving on. I have a question. Why do people get mad when people tell them the truth? That most, but not all, most women have the power in dating. I don't know why, but hey, I always said a woman chooses a man chooses a woman, because you can spit all the game all you want to, because that girl won't let you in just because you say so. But let's check this out.
If we started to say, like, just to kind of hold ourselves accountable, stop dehumanizing men with their characteristics, traits, and qualities.
Women are never going to hold themselves accountable. Why would they? They rarely do. Women have all the leverage in a dating marketplace now. Why would they hold themselves accountable? That's the truth. How many delusional women do we have out here that, quite frankly, are useless bimbos that they feel they deserve a man that's 6'3", making $1 million a year?
Okay. Let's analyze this. Not all women are useless bimbos. 10%, 5% maybe. But there are good women out there. Back to this.
As an athlete and etc.
But you guys invest into the women as well.
How do we
You do.
invest in them?
Like this is the problem, because you'll advertise a certain life, you'll have all these things, and you'll let women have this lifestyle.
No, we invest in those girls. Nothing else. Those girls are those girls perpetually typically stay single. They go from high value guy to high value guy. These girls don't get commitment. That's another mistake that girls make. They think just because a guy is dating them means they're going to get a relationship, and relationship attraction and sexual attraction are two different things. But modern day women make the cardinal mistake of conflating the two, thinking they're the same. They're not at all.
So how do you pull them?
How do I pull?
Yeah.
What do you mean? How do I?
How would you court me?
How would I court you? Like for like a serious relationship, or like for a vetting process?
For like a vetting process.
Oh well.
And then see, like, how do you then determine?
Okay, so I go on a date with a girl, right, and I get a feel for her, right? See what her family background is like, etc. Ask some, prerequisite questions, and then what I do. The game doesn't really begin until after you have sex with the girl, and the reason why is because after that point, now she's going to start to really either sink or swim. And most girls, unfortunately, fail this test miserably because most girls think, I'm just going to have sex with him and that's enough. And the reality is, that's enough to get a date, but that's not enough to keep a guy. Most girls are terrible at retaining men. Girl game is being able to retain the guy. And most girls don't offer a value out of sex. So if they don't add, value at that point, and I'm going to obviously give her some instructions, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to watch what she does very carefully. If I tell her, hey, I need you to do this or whatever, and she balks at it, well, okay, bam, I already know where she stands. Streets only, recreational use, back to the streets you return. Because I don't really have time for girls that are going to be liabilities.
Okay.
All right. Ladies, are you an asset or are you a liability? Does he make sense? Does he make points? Please, give us your feedback. Also, is it just me, or just like the country, there's 333 million people in America, and you're only hearing from either the negative or a very small portion? Everybody ain't pretty, everybody ain't rich, everybody's not smart, and everybody are not hoes, and all men are not dogs. So let me know. Hit me up. I need your feedback so we can make an interesting conversation. Okay. Another thing, the passport bros. Is it just me, or is it getting really, really, really popular? Because not all passport bros are going over to get married. I think maybe a small percentage trying to get married, but most are trying to do business, trying to have fun. And then you have in any group the lames that give you the bad PR when they say Western women aren't good. But I don't know about that, but check this out. Let me get your feedback on this one.
Like, we're the prize here.
Yeah, women are the prize. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I don't know. You just have to, really make yourself worthy enough for me to talk to you and, spend my, give you my attention. And if you're not worthy enough, then on to the next.
So you're the prize.
I don't know.
Why?
My mom always told me to go for a guy who really respects you and just. Okay, next question. Sorry.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
When you pay attention to the passport bros, they're getting women from the DR, Colombia, the Philippines, Thailand, women that can speak very little English, women that don't have education, women that need this, women that need this.
Women are raised to be wives. Mm-hmm. They learn everything from birth, from their father, from their mother, how to be a wife and how to support your man.
Women that need them.
It's not even women that need them. It's women that treat them with respect.
So we don't.
Y'all know y'all don't. So.
Yeah, he caught her because she just about to say you don't respect them. Like, I think, yeah, that's kind of true. It's kind of true that Western women think of men, probably black men, that they're only there to, I guess, pay bills or whatever. But it is what it is. Hold on 1 second. Just check this out one more time.
Non-traditional girls do not deserve traditional guys. Relationships don't really work anymore. They're masculine, assertive, argumentative, and aggressive. So why would I even bother anymore?
What's your body count at?
3, 4,
100 or 1,000.
100. Ew.
I don't know.
What the fuck?
I guess you're young. You're right. That was inappropriate.
Rude.
Sorry.
Who cheats more, girls or guys?
Girls.
Girls. I say girls. Why y'all say girls? She is a cheater. You're a cheater. It was Valentine's Day weekend, and her boyfriend was like MIA, and so she cheated on him with this other guy. And it was like this big thing. Did y'all break up after that, or are y'all still together now?
No.
We're dating?
You can't release this.
Oh, yes, I can. I must.
So he doesn't know.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he knows now. Again, this is not what people usually do, but it is what it is. Alright, another question. How long does it take you to know you want to marry someone? Average study says 6 months. I disagree, because in 6 months you really won't know what happens if a major issue comes up, like really, really major. But doctors are saying 6 months. But check this out.
I saw somebody comment that men know right away within the first 6 months of talking to a woman what the future is going to hold with that woman. And I don't know where y'all got this from, but I see women say this all the time, and I see a lot of men chime in and agree with them. And I don't know if y'all got it from Steve Harvey's Think Like a Man or whatever y'all got this from, but I'm telling you, it's wrong. It's not true. Like that's it's just not true. I don't know how other way to put it. Like Asha said, we didn't get engaged until 2 years after us, getting to know each other. Mm-hmm. And there's no way within the first 6 months that I knew that I wanted to be with Asha for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a huge decision to me. And because somebody put that out there into the atmosphere and everybody breathed it in and believed that that was Bible, a lot of y'all are missing out on some blessings in y'all life because y'all have a clock, a 6 month clock on your relationship. And if a person doesn't make moves in order to make you their life partner, their wife or husband, wife in this case, then you up and leave. And you could be missing out on a blessing. So I would tell people to forget, unlearn that. Wherever you learned it from, unlearn it. Like, come on, they don't even make you choose your major in college in the first year. Yeah. Y'all up here trying to choose the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, build a family with, build a future with in 3 to 6 months. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I just like to touch on that. I just feel like it's not realistic. Okay, granted, some people have done it. It may work for some. It may have not worked for a lot. But I just feel like it's not realistic for having a very healthy future or relationship or marriage. Reason being is because you're getting to that's the time where you're new and getting to know that person, right? So to me, I feel like I'll speak from a woman's standpoint, like put so much pressure on, I'm supposed to be married within this or engaged, or he's supposed to know within this certain amount of time, right? And the idea of 6 months to a year is not realistic for me. Just because you're getting to know that person, right? I feel like in life, as an individual, we go through phases of getting to know ourselves. We're constantly changing. Who I was when I was 20, when we first started dating, 22, is not who I am going into 32, right? I'll be approaching 32 this year. We're coming up.
We'll be approaching 32 this year.
We're coming up on 10 years of being together. Yeah. 10 years. So who I was, and I hope, and I really hope and pray, because if you're staying the same from a 10-year time span, that's a problem. So I will hope that there will be some type of growth within you from the first year y'all start dating, the first 6 months, to the time when y'all do get engaged, right? So you're constantly getting to know yourself. You're constantly getting to know that person. You're evolving. So why would you think that you know all of that person enough to commit to marriage, which is supposed to be a lifetime union, within the first 6 months to a year? Is beyond me. And I don't understand why people stress so much on getting engaged in a certain time frame. Now, granted, if you've been with a person for an extended period of time, and we'll touch on that, like I said, with this topic, it sways, right? Because it is a time frame where it's like, okay, we need to figure this out,
right?
Versus it being too early and you just rushing into it,
right? Yeah, I think a lot of people rush into it just because of the pressures that society put on everybody nowadays. Like, everybody want to rush to get married, and then they end up rushing to get a divorce. So I would just take my time to actually get to know the person. I think Asha brought up a great point where it's like, look how long it has taken you to get to know yourself. And every day you're still figuring out new things about yourself, things that make you tick, things that you're passionate about. How could you possibly know everything about somebody within the first 6 months,
right,
or within a year, to make the decision that I am going to spend the rest of my life with you and mean it?
Right.
Because a lot of people say it, but they don't mean it, right? What they really mean is, as long as you make me happy, as long as everything is going well, then I'll be with you. But if you don't, then I'm leaving. And that's not how marriage should be. Like I said on the Shade Room, it should be a covenant, not a contract. Right? I've never heard a person during their wedding vows say to somebody, I promise to love you through sickness and health, as long as you love me, as long as you treat me right, till death do us part, as long as you make me smile, as long as nothing happens to you, you always remain attractive and you don't gain weight. Like you stand across from each other and you look each other in the eyes and you say, till death do us part through sickness and health, I will be there by your side. Right? I give myself to you. It's a covenant, and a lot of times people are rushing into relationships or rushing into marriage not knowing if that person across from them is worthy of them giving them their full self too.
Yeah.
Right? So the marriages don't end up lasting. And I honestly believe that you have to go through certain phases. Like, there's phases to love. There's phases to relationships. And when you're rushing to hurry up and get to that marriage, you're skipping over those phases.
Right.
Which end up hurting you in the long run. Like, there were things that we had to go through in our lives that showed me that this is the person I can spend my whole life with, right? Because she has seen me in every season of my life. Like, when we first met each other, I was a millionaire. And I'm sexy as hell. So it's like, it's not hard for a woman to want to be around me and to love on me, right? You getting the best of both worlds. So I saw how she was when I was at my highest. And then when Leah got diagnosed with cancer and I was at my lowest, I saw how she was when I was at my lowest. The one thing about Asha, she never changed. She was the same person at my highest that she was at my lowest. And that's when I realized, like, I can go through life with this person because I know that life is a roller coaster. It's filled with ups and downs. And I don't want to be on a ride with somebody who jumps out when things get crazy, when things get scary. Like, I want that partner that's going to grip onto your arm and hold you tight and let you know, I'm scared, but I'm going to ride this thing out with you.
Right.
And when Asha did that for me, I was like, man, this is the one. Because she's willing to ride it out with me. And hopefully our ride is smooth for the majority of our time together. But I know if it's bumpy, that she's going to be there. And that's how I knew that she was the one. But it took time to do that. Right? The first 6 months, it was beautiful. We was traveling. We was doing whatever we wanted to do. But it was after that, right after the first year that I really found out who Asha was at the core, like what her values were, what she stood for. And that's when I was like, yeah, she's the one. So, like I said, it's all dependent on what season you are in your life and what you and that person goes through. But to rush into something that's supposed to be a lifetime, it don't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, thank you to the Relationships Network. Again, this is the audience participation portion of the podcast. Send us your ideas or your feedback on, does it take more than 6 months? Does it take less than 6 months to be engaged, to know that you want to get married? Do you? Let us know. All right, we are going to move on to the VI portion of this. The VI portion of the podcast, courtesy of the Poppy Show. This is called the VI Spelling Bee.
Alright, I can spell. I got monster.
What is conscience?
C-O-N.
No cheating.
No, shut up, man. I ain't dumb. C-O-N-C-I-O-U-S. Hey, you ask.
One more time, man. No, start from the beginning.
Yes, C-O-N.
Stop. Start from the beginning.
C-O-N.
Right, go ahead.
C-I. How?
Yes, what?
You fucking bro.
Calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
C-O-N-S-C-I-O-U-S.
C-O-N-S-C-I-O-U-S. What is collision?
Why the f*** did you do that? C-O-L-L-G-I-E. What? Collegiate? No. C-O-L-L.
What he missed? A word?
No. C-O-L-L-G-I. Colleague. Oh. C-O-L-L-I. G-E-A-T-T-E.
I went to Whakaari, so I should know, right? C-O-L-L-E-G-I-A-T-E. The next one is simultaneously.
S-I-M-U-N.
What do you want me to say?
Because you don't even know how to spell the word. Let's collaborate.
Ready?
I got to use my phone.
What?
Okay. S-I-M-U-N-T-T-E. Simon.
Wait, how much cheese that was?
One. A. N. That's right. U. Simultaneously. S-I-M-U-L-T-A-N-E-O-U-L-S-Y. Simultaneously. S-L-Y.
Machuchal. You know I'm the best speller. This should be entertaining. M-A. Chal.
M-A-C-H-U-C-H-A-L. Machuchal.
Good job.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I love my people. That was the VI Spelling Bee. All right. Moving on to another session with Miss Gabrielle. She's a school teacher. And check this out.
If you grew up in the Caribbean, you may have been told many old wives' tales used in predicting the intensity of the upcoming hurricane season. One of the ones that I grew up hearing about was the importance of paying attention to the fruit-bearing trees. If the fruit-bearing trees bared way before their usual season and in abundance, it might mean that energetically the trees are sensing the potential of their demise. Sometimes we don't give enough credence to these belief systems that our ancestors have passed down for us, but it makes perfect sense. A tree's fruit represents their potential, their future, and their knowledge. When trees sense impending danger, they respond by bearing the highest potential of what they came into this existence for. Similar to people wishing to repair broken relationships and embrace their spirituality before they die.
Yep. That was a message from Miss Gabrielle. We appreciate it every week. All right. This is the end of our program today. Episode 25. Who do you have in the Super Bowl? And who I have is the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dwayne Otter, your host of Ninjas of Another Color podcast. Rate us, review us, give us feedback. Give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, give us 3 stars, give us 2 stars. Give us any stars. If you don't give me any stars, I will just assume that I am doing it correctly. We are available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcast, Pandora, Google Podcast, and TuneIn. Yes, we're still working on Amazon. You can send your comments to Ninjas of Another Color podcast, Ninjas of Another Color at gmail.com. We're available on Instagram, also on TikTok. You can support via Cash App or Zelle. Information on the site. And to end the show, since it is Black History Month, we are going to end it on this note. Thank you so much.
It's February, so many teachers and schools are celebrating Black History Month. But there are still many misconceptions and misunderstandings about the past, present, and future of this celebration. So today, I thought we'd go back to the beginning. Hi, this is Mike Hines, and I'm a professor here at the Stanford Graduate School of Education, where my work focuses on the history of America's schools. What we now know as Black History Month had its beginnings as Negro History Week, which was invented by the famed historian, educator, and activist Carter G. Woodson in 1926. Negro History Week was a direct challenge to traditional curricula of the time period, which often degraded and dehumanized Black people. Negro History Week was also inextricably linked to Black calls for social and political equality. More than just a chance to talk about a few notable achievements, Negro History Week was a call to action. Although Negro History Week became one of his most widely known interventions, it was only part of Dr. Woodson's efforts to develop, democratize, and disseminate information on Black history. He also pursued this work through the establishment of the Association for Negro Life and History, its journals, the Journal of Negro History and the Negro History Bulletin, and textbooks, speeches, pamphlets, and materials for every grade level from college down to kindergarten. Now, Woodson didn't do this work alone. Moving from idea to reality took the dedication of thousands of Black teachers, most of them women, who were largely responsible for shaping the celebration through their work in the classroom. It also took the work of entire communities, including churches, fraternities and sororities, libraries and lodges, social clubs, and civic organizations. This reflected Woodson's desire to encourage lay people, not just academics, to preserve and present their own histories. As the movement continued to grow, it outstripped the bounds of a single week, and the word Negro, which was outdated by the 1960s, was replaced by a new generation born and raised in the civil rights struggle. Black History Month emerged in its current form during those decades and is still going strong. So, is this celebration still relevant today? Well, it depends on who you ask. Critics charge that the progress we've made from the 1920s to the 2020s has largely made Black History Month irrelevant. Or, that worse, singling out Black history is actually counterproductive to broader efforts at inclusion. Although we may have made progress, however, research from the Southern Poverty Law Center and other sources still shows that we are far from our goal of honoring the multiple voices in our classrooms and challenging dominant narratives. At the same time, new and emerging movements for racial justice call out for historical context, which our schools simply fail to provide. Carter G. Woodson himself was cautiously optimistic that students in the future would no longer need Black History Month if we taught in ways that honored and elevated our students and told their stories all year long. But we're not there yet. So Black History Month will continue to be what it always has been: a celebration, a stinging indictment, and a call to action, all in one.